Hey guys, this is Miss K Franklin coming to you with a comeback. Not a quick classroom tip today. I wanted to respond to some of the comments that I was getting on my post that I recently put out. And I was really confused at the tone that I was receiving, and I didn't understand. I had posted a video about my students doing a 2-minute research and then downloading that for 2 minutes. And then we talked about it for 2 minutes. And what that activity did was build background into the content, which was foreign to the students, that they would be learning about, making my job as teacher a lot easier. And when they began to read about yellow fever that took place in 1793, they had some context. They had a little bit of knowledge about it. And they learned through student engagement. And so I wanted to share one of those activities with the group. And I posted that engagement yields learning. And it does. But I want to apologize for the last statement that was written because it wasn't meant to be offensive. However, based on the tone and some of the statements that was written in response to it, there was definitely some offense. It was not meant to be offensive. It was a legitimate question asked before the statement, which was, what are some of the things you do to engage your students? Because I really wanted to know. I am a student teacher who believes in engagement. Let me say that again. I am a student and teacher who believes in engagement. As a student, I need to be engaged in that process. If I'm not tuned in, I'm not learning my best. If the classroom is boring, I don't even want to learn from the person. But as a mature learner, I tune in anyway. But our students who are in middle school, most of them don't have the mind to push past the boring to get to the learning. According to the Glossary of Educational Reform, it says that engagement is the degree of attention, curiosity, and passion that students show when they are taught, which extends to the level of motivation they have to learn and progress in their education. So based on what it is that they are getting, they are deciding whether or not they want to get it. And so engagement yields learning, and boring classrooms have little learning. That's the statement that I wanted to apologize for being offensive. But in all actuality, that is a true statement, not meant to offend. So rather than getting offended by a statement that is true, let's shift the narrative. If I felt some kind of way about it, what can I do in my classroom to bring my students more into the learning process? Because it was a true statement. What can I do to provoke the thinking of my students in the learning tasks that I have them doing? How can I use my expertise and my knowledge of my content and my knowledge of my students, merging the two to then create a lesson that engages their mind? Because there's a misconception Engagement is not just cute little fun activities. Engagement is when the student's mind has been activated. It has been turned on to learning. And yes, that can be done with a worksheet, through a lecture, through modeling. And it should be. Yes, someone posted about explicit teaching. My God, if we are not explicitly teaching our students, directly teaching them what it is they need to know, following that up, or as I'm teaching them explicitly, modeling for them, we aren't really teaching. We're telling. And in that case, students are still not learning to their greatest potential. My statement said, in boring classrooms, there is little learning. And that statement is true. There's learning for some, but I guarantee you, even those students aren't learning to their fullest potential. I went to a workshop one time, and the teacher, God bless his soul, he talked about how we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make him drink. And as teachers, educators, I've heard this over and over and over. But it was something that he said, and it stuck with me. He said, we can't make them drink, but we can salt the oats. Make them salty, y'all. Make them thirsty for the knowledge that you have. Make them interested. When a student has curiosity and they're wondering what they're going to learn in the classroom, what are we doing today? Oh my God, how is she going to teach this lesson? He going to put this thing together today. When their interest is provoked, they want to. When they have no interest, they don't. And that's where there is a struggle. How can you take your expertise and your knowledge of your student and create a lesson that will engage their mind? That's engagement. If they're not paying attention, they are not learning. That's not an offensive statement. That is truth. The question for us as educators, active learners, what are we doing to learn our students? Letting that sit. They are our audience. What are we doing that our audience is understanding the message that we're giving? I hate it. They're our customers. What are we doing that they're buying what we're selling? I understand. We don't want to be the entertainer. We don't want to be the salesman. Unfortunately, we're kind of in that role. So, what are we going to do to ensure the students are learning in our classroom? Because the struggle only prevents you from doing your job. I hate it. But we have to engage our students in the learning process. When you cannot take that lesson from that book, from that computer, and look at your students, utilize their data, and say, my students are here, the lesson is here, what can I do to merge the two and create a lesson that does that? That means that we as the educator must delve deeper into our content because we don't know it enough to be creative enough to meet the need of the student enough for him or her or they to grow. Not meant to be offensive, but it is the truth. Salt the oats, guys. Student engagement yields learning, and boring lessons yield less. Take that to the classroom and use it. And be the awesome educator that you are and create these wonderful lessons that will promote learning. This is Miss K. Franklin. Take it to the classroom and use it.